If you are over the age of 60, you have probably spent your life working hard, raising a family, taking care of others, and doing what needed to be done. And now, as you step into this next chapter, whether you call it retirement, reinvention, or simply your time, something powerful starts to happen. You begin to realize that life is no longer about chasing more. It is about choosing better. But here's the truth. Most people do not talk about. Sometimes living better means letting go, not adding more to your plate, but taking things off of it, the habits, beliefs, and pressures that no longer serve you. In this video, we are going to explore 9 things you should consider letting go of after the age of 60, not because you have done something wrong, but because you deserve to experience more joy, more peace, and more freedom. These are the lessons I have learned after over 10 years of sitting with people just like you, people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond, who have shown me what it really means to live well. Stick with me until the end, because the last one might just shift how you wake up tomorrow morning. Let's begin. 1. Stop saving out of fear. Here's the first thing to let go of after the age of 60. Stop saving out of fear. Now, I know that might sound strange at first. After all, saving money is a habit many of us were raised with. Save for a rainy day. Save for retirement. Save just in case. And for most of your life, that mindset has served you well. But at a certain point, especially after 60, saving out of fear can start to hold you back. Let me explain. The purpose of saving money is to take care of your future self. It is a tool, a way to prepare for the life you want to live later on. But what happens when later is already here? What happens when you have saved enough, when your financial needs are covered, and yet you still feel afraid to spend a dime? I have seen it time and time again. I once met a man who had over $2 million in his retirement accounts. He had no debt, a paid-off home, and more than enough to last the rest of his life. And yet, every time his wife suggested taking a vacation, buying a camper, or even going out for a nice dinner, he would tense up. He would say, "What if something happens? What if we need that money later?" And I asked him gently, "What if you never use it? What if later never comes the way you expect it to?" That question stayed with him, and maybe it stays with you too. Saving money is important, but at some point, you have to trust the life you have built. You have to give yourself permission to enjoy it, to take the trip, to buy the gift, to create the memory. Not recklessly, not without thought, but without guilt. If you have planned well and your basic needs are covered, the money you have saved is not just for emergencies. It is for living. It is for connection. It is for joy. So today, I want to offer you this shift. Instead of asking, "What if I run out?" start asking, "What is worth spending on while I still can?" Your time is now, not someday, not eventually now. 2. Stop spending on what doesn't bring you joy. The second thing to let go of after the age of 60 is this. Stop spending money on things that do not bring you joy. Now that you have given yourself permission to spend, make sure you are spending on the right things. Too often we fall into patterns. We buy things out of habit, out of guilt, out of obligation. We try to keep up appearances or please others or fill some empty space we have not taken the time to name. But if you stop and really look, how much of your spending actually makes you happy? I once spoke to a woman in her early 70s. She told me that she used to spend thousands of dollars every year on clothes she never wore, gifts she felt pressured to give, and gadgets she bought because they were on sale. But the one thing she remembered most? A $600 flight to surprise her sister on her birthday. They laughed, cried, stayed up late sharing memories, and that weekend meant more to her than all those shopping trips combined. That is the difference between spending and spending well. After 60, your money should be aligned with what you value most. Maybe that is travel. Maybe it is giving to your grandchildren's education. Maybe it is weekly dinners with friends, or that new reclining chair that helps your back feel better. Whatever it is, spend on that. Let go of the things that feel heavy, meaningless, or rushed. Let go of spending. That comes from guilt, or fear, or the pressure to impress. You do not owe anyone an explanation for how you choose to enjoy your life. And remember, joy does not always come with a price tag. Sometimes, the richest moments are the simplest ones. Sitting on the porch with someone you love, sending a handwritten letter, or walking in nature without your phone. So before you spend, ask yourself, is this helping me live the life I want, or is it just noise? Spend with intention. Spend with heart. Because the goal is not to have less or more, it is to have meaning. 3. Stop trading time for money. The third thing to let go of after the age of 60 is this. Stop trading your time for money, unless it still brings you meaning. For most of your life, time and money have been closely connected. You worked for a paycheck. You earned your living by showing up, putting in the hours, doing the job even when it was hard, even when it was thankless. And that was necessary. It was how you built your life. But now, you are in a different chapter, and in this chapter, time is your most valuable currency. Ask yourself honestly, are you still working because you love it, or because you are afraid to stop? Does your job give you purpose, or does it just keep you busy? I'm not saying you should retire just because you turned 60. If you still find joy in your work, if it gives you energy, structure, and connection, keep doing it. But do it by choice, not by habit or fear. One man I knew had been a high school teacher for over 30 years. When he turned 62, people kept asking him, "When are you going to retire?" And his answer was simple, "When I stop loving it." So he kept teaching until 67. Then, one morning, he woke up and felt it. It was time, and he walked away with peace in his heart, not regret. That is what I hope for you. But I also see the other side. People who stay in jobs they do not enjoy simply because they do not know who they are without that role. People who are afraid to slow down because they have never been given permission to just be. Here is the truth. You can always earn more money, but you can never earn more time. Once today is gone, it is gone, and no paycheck can buy it back. So if your work still fulfills you, keep going with pride. But if it drains you, if it holds you back from the life you want to live, it may be time to let it go. You have traded time for money for long enough. Now, it is time to trade time for meaning. 4. Stop putting off experiences. The fourth thing to let go of after the age of 60 is this. Stop putting off the experiences you always wanted. How many times have you said, "I'll take that trip someday. I'll learn that skill next year. I'll start that adventure when things settle down." But here is the hard truth. Someday is not a day on the calendar, and for many people, someday never comes. I remember speaking with a couple who had dreamed of driving cross-country in an old Airstream trailer. They had the money, they had the time, but year after year they kept saying, "Next summer." Then one winter the husband had a health scare. Nothing life-threatening, but enough to make them pause. And that was the moment they realized they had been waiting for permission that would never come. So they packed up, hit the road, and 6 months later, they told me it was the best decision they had ever made. Not because every day was perfect, but because they finally did it. That is the power of taking action now. So I want to ask you, what is something you have been putting off? A trip? A hobby? A visit with an old friend? A letter you keep meaning to write? Why not now? You do not need to wait for retirement to start living. You do not need everything to be perfect, and you do not need anyone else to say it's okay. Because here is something most people do not realize until it's too late. Work can be an excuse. Routine can be an excuse. Even planning can be an excuse. Behind the waiting, there is often fear. Fear of change. Fear of doing something new. Fear of finally prioritizing yourself. But what if this year you let go of waiting? What if you gave yourself permission to start living now? Not in 5 years, not when the timing is right, but now. You're not too old. It's not too late. And you are allowed to make memories that feel like magic, no matter your age. The world is still full of wonder. You just have to say yes. 5. Stop neglecting your health. The fifth thing to let go of after the age of 60 is this. Stop neglecting your health. Now, I want to say this with love, because I know this can be a sensitive topic, but it's one we have to talk about. A lot of people think of retirement in terms of how many years they might have left. 15 years, 25 years, maybe more. But the better question is this: how many healthy years do you have left? Because without your health, real, lasting health, it does not matter how much money you have in the bank. It doesn't matter how many trips you've planned, or how beautiful your retirement home is. If you do not have the energy or ability to enjoy it, it all starts to slip away. Let me ask you, would you rather have 20 million and feel sick, tired, and in pain every day? Or would you rather have just $1 million, but feel vibrant, strong, and full of life? Most people, when they stop and think about it, would choose the second. But strangely, many of us live like we're chasing the first. Here is the good news. You do not need to overhaul your entire life to feel better. You do not need to become a marathon runner or switch to a strict diet overnight. Start small. Start by walking a little more each day, by choosing water instead of soda, by stretching in the morning, or joining a local fitness class that is designed for people your age. Even light strength training with guidance can do wonders for your balance, energy, and independence. This is not about losing weight or chasing youth. It is about keeping your freedom. It is about being able to play with your grandchildren, travel without pain, and wake up with energy instead of fatigue. Your body is your vehicle for the life you want. And just like any vehicle, it needs regular care. It needs maintenance. It needs love. So take care of yourself. Make that doctor's appointment you have been avoiding. What? Take that first walk around the block. Prepare one healthy meal this week. Well, just one. Because health is not about perfection. It is about momentum. And the best time to start is now. 6. Stop worrying about what others think. The sixth thing to let go of after the age of 60 is this. Stop worrying about what other people think. Now, let's be honest. For most of our lives, we have been shaped by the expectations of others. We try to be the good parent, the loyal employee, the reliable friend. We follow the rules. We do what is expected. But at some point you have to ask, who am I living for now? I once had a client, a woman in her mid-60s, who loved art all her life. She had dreamed of taking a painting class, but she hesitated. She said, "What if I'm not good? What if people think it's silly at my age?" You know what I told her? So what if they do? She took the class, and it changed everything. Not because she became a famous artist, but because she finally gave herself permission to do something for her. No apologies, no explanations. Here's something powerful I want you to remember. The older you get, the more freedom you earn to stop caring about the noise around you. You want to wear bold colors? Do it. You want to travel alone? Do it. You want to say no to family gatherings that exhaust you? You have that right. And this is not about being rude or self-centered. This is about living authentically, so you do not look back with regret. There is a book written by a hospice nurse named Bronnie Ware. In it, she shares the top regrets of people at the end of their lives. Do you know what the #1 regret was? I wish I had had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Let that sink in, because when you live by other people's standards for too long, you begin to disappear from your own life. So today, release the pressure. Let go of the need to impress. Say what you mean. Do what you love, and allow yourself to be seen fully, honestly, beautifully, just as you are. There is only one you, and it is never too late to show up for your own life. 7. Stop watching the doom and gloom. The seventh thing to let go of after the age of 60 is this: stop watching the doom and gloom, at least not every day. Now, this one might surprise you. Let me be clear. I am not saying you should bury your head in the sand. Staying informed is important. Being aware of the world around you is part of being a thoughtful citizen. But there is a difference between staying informed and being emotionally consumed. If you spend hours every day watching the news, no matter which channel, you might start to feel like the world is falling apart. And that constant stress, anxiety, and fear, it builds up. It wears on your body, it clouds your mind, and it steals your peace. Here is something I often ask people. Have you ever met someone who said, after watching 3 hours of cable news every night, I feel so much better about life? Neither have I. But I have met plenty of people, dozens of them, who told me that once they stepped away from the nonstop news cycle, their mental health improved, their mood lifted, they were more hopeful, more present, more at ease. You see, most of the news you watch is not designed to inform you. It is designed to keep your attention, and fear is a powerful hook. The question becomes, is that where you want to spend your attention? After 60, you start to realize that your attention is one of your most valuable resources, and you get to choose where it goes. You can focus on what is broken, or you can focus on what is still beautiful. There is still kindness in the world. There are still good people doing good things. There is still music, laughter, learning, growing, and love. So, stay informed, yes, but not at the cost of your peace. Limit how much you take in. Turn off the television when you need to. Choose uplifting stories, read from sources that respect your intelligence, not just your fear. And ask yourself, has watching this helped me take action? Has it improved my life? Or is it just making me feel helpless? Because after all the years you have lived, you deserve more than to sit in fear. You deserve peace. You deserve joy. And you deserve to spend your energy on things you can actually control. 8. Stop ignoring your financial plan. The eighth thing to let go of after the age of 60 is this: stop ignoring your financial plan, but also stop obsessing over it. This is a delicate balance. On one side, you have people who avoid their finances completely. They say things like, "It's too overwhelming. I'll deal with it later." Or, "I don't even want to look at it." But here's the truth. Avoiding your financial plan does not make the problem go away. It makes it grow in the dark. After 60, it becomes even more important to have a clear understanding of what your money is doing. How much income do you need each month? What happens if your health changes? Are you protected from the unexpected? You do not need to be an expert, but you do need a plan. One that gives you peace of mind. Now, let me speak to the other side. The people who only think about their finances. You know the type. Maybe you are one of them. They analyze every dollar. They ask, if I take a vacation, will that impact my tax efficiency? They delay joy because of a spreadsheet. Here is the problem with that. You did not save and invest just to look at your numbers on a screen. You did it to live. So yes, talk to your advisor. Check your accounts. Make sure the basics are covered. But then let go. Let your money do what it was meant to do. Support your life, not control it. A strong financial plan should give you confidence to say yes, not fear that keeps you frozen. I once told a client this, and it changed his entire perspective. The sign of a great retirement plan is not just a high account balance. It is a life well lived. So stop avoiding your finances out of fear. Stop obsessing over your finances out of anxiety. And start using your finances as a tool to build the life you want. One joyful, intentional decision at a time. 9. Stop living like you have forever. The ninth and final thing to let go of after the age of 60 is this: stop living like you have forever. Now, I say that not to scare you, but to invite you to live more fully. Because by the time we reach our 60s, most of us have been touched by loss. Maybe you have lost a parent, a sibling, a friend. Maybe someone you love deeply is no longer here. And in those quiet, sacred moments of grief, we are reminded of something we often forget. Life is not unlimited. We all know this in theory, but still, we put things off. We wait for the right moment. We convince ourselves we will get around to it. But the truth is, you never really know how much time you have left. And that makes today incredibly precious. I sometimes ask my clients a simple but powerful question. If you knew with absolute certainty that this was your last year, what would you do differently? Who would you call? What would you say? What would you stop tolerating? And what would you finally start doing? Most people can answer that question very quickly, but then they go back to living the same way they always have. So let me ask you, what is stopping you from doing some of that now? You do not need to wait for a diagnosis or a crisis to wake up. You can wake up today with full awareness of just how fleeting and beautiful life really is. You can forgive someone. You can start that journal. You can book the trip, take the class, plant the garden, or say, I love you before the moment slips away. And no, you cannot do everything in one day, but you can begin. Because the point is not to live in fear of death. The point is to live in respect for life, to honor this one wild, irreplaceable life that you still have. You are here, you are breathing, you have today. And that is enough reason to stop waiting and start truly living. So there you have it. 9 things to let go of after the age of 60. Not because you have done anything wrong, but because you have earned the right to live more lightly, more freely, more intentionally. Letting go is not about giving up. It is about making space. Space for peace, for joy, for presence, for what really matters. Now, let's take a moment to remember what we have covered today. Let go of saving out of fear. Let go of spending without joy. Let go of trading your time for money when your time is worth more. Let go of putting off the experiences that make you feel alive. Let go of neglecting your health, your greatest asset. Let go of worrying about what other people think. Let go of the constant noise of negativity. Let go of financial fear, but do not ignore your plan. And most of all, let go of the illusion that you have forever. Because the truth is, you have right now. And that is enough to begin. Before we close, I want to ask you something personal. What are you ready to let go of starting today? Think about it, and if you feel comfortable, share your answer in the comments. You never know who else you might inspire just by speaking from the heart. And if this message spoke to you, if it reminded you of your worth, your wisdom, or your possibilities, please share it with someone you care about. A friend, a sibling, a spouse, someone who may need this reminder too. We believe aging is not about slowing down. It is about showing up more fully than ever before. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your time, your heart, your trust. And above all, thank you for reminding the world that it is never too late to live a life filled with purpose, connection, and joy. We will see you in the next one.